Something I really appreciate about Dungeon Meshi, and in fantasy in general, is when the fantastical elements of the narrative are treated with and subject to a touch of realism. Dragons don't just conjure fire out of nowhere, their breath is the product of an internal organ that boils down biological material to produce flammable gas. When healing magic forcibly sets your broken bones and rapidly reconstructs your missing tissues, your body reacts viscerally to this process, and it hurts like all hell. The events that go down in the dungeon don't happen in a vacuum. If an adventurer's activity gets out, they develop a reputation, and even in the dungeon's depths, one has to be careful how others will see what they've done. This is most present in the series' premise. The monsters of the dungeon may be unnatural creations, the products of magic, but they're still animals. A kelpie may be a weird water horse that eats people, but it's still a horse. Its meat is pretty much identical to normal horse meat, and this is true of pretty much every creature in the dungeon that has meat to be eaten. They're subject to the same functions and laws of biology that govern their mundane kin, even if some have fantastical abilities. And my favorite example of this is Falin's Chimera form. Like the fans, the first thing Leos notices about Falin's Chimera form is how goddamn cool she is. The feathers and wings contrast nicely against her draconic lower body. She's wildly strong and can still cast some devastating magic. Plus, as a chimera, she has an excess of essential organs, such as her heart, meaning that what would have been a fatal blow is instead a mild annoyance. And in the end, she utterly devastated the combined forces of Shuro's, Kabru's, and Leos' parties. This form seems really strong. However, it has some especially crippling weaknesses. Phelan's Chimera form is the product of magical tomfoolery. She wasn't designed, she wasn't crafted. Her body is a jumbled mess of biology that only barely functions. As mentioned above, dragons have a special organ that produces fuel for their fire breath. While Falin has this organ, it doesn't function properly, and she can't use the ability. She has wings, but her body is too malformed to properly fly, only able to glide for short distances. And lastly, this body has to be fed. Her dragon half necessitates calories equal to what a dragon needs for the same mass. However, her human mouth is physically incapable of supplying this need, and this leaves her constantly on the edge of starving. And I really like that. I like how our author looked at this creature and thought about how this would work biologically. I think that's neat.